Good evening. We're gathered tonight in the Peter Feeney Conference Room in the Cumberland County Courthouse for the October regular meeting of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. Keeping with our usual practice, anyone who wishes to, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our first order of business is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
So
Second.
Moved and seconded. Everybody's had a chance to review those. Any questions or objections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. We don't have anyone from the public for comment this evening. Consent agenda. Could I have a motion, please, for the consent agenda for items 19080 through 083?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries. New business this evening, a proclamation, item 19084, declaring October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we ask, is the proclamation on our website, do we know?
it is.
Okay, and it's a pleasure of the council, the board, for having the proclamation read. Rather lengthy, but I'm glad to do it.
Would you like?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Barbara? And
Sure. Whereas domestic violence remains a pervasive issue across Cumberland County, the United States, the world, with implications for personal and community health. And whereas domestic violence does not discriminate and touches all communities regardless of age, race, disability, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas in 2018, 34,053 calls came into the helplines, and of the total served, 859, including 333 children, found safety in a domestic violence resource center shelter. And whereas in Maine, a domestic violence assault is reported to law enforcement every 2 hours and 5 minutes. And whereas in 2017, 638 volunteers from across the state donated 44,339 hours to help meet the needs of victims of domestic violence, representing a monetary value of $665,085. And whereas research shows that a protective factor in preventing domestic violence is creating a community where people are connected, supportive, and care for each other. And whereas every day in Cumberland County, individuals and organizations play their part to support people impacted by domestic violence by providing therapeutic, legal, educational, housing, advocacy, and medical services. And whereas all of us can be the one to play a part in preventing and ending domestic violence. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Cumberland County Commissioners hereby proclaim October 2019 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Cumberland County.
can we have a motion approving that proclamation?
So moved.
Is it second?
I'll second.
Conversation, discussion. I'll just note Cumberland County government has been a kind of a driving force related to this issue for some time, and continues to be that, and actually does a remarkable job of gathering resources from mostly national sources to support concentrated activity in that area. It's a great idea. Other discussion? All those in favor of this proclamation say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Second item, 19085, designating Friday after Thanksgiving as a holiday for non-union personnel, as it is already for the appropriate union personnel. Don, did you have a discussion on this item?
No, other than I would support this. I do know that the day after Thanksgiving is pretty much another holiday for most municipalities and public local government agencies. The only two that I am aware of are the City of South Portland and Cumberland County government. So that would be the only feedback I would have.
And Mr. Chairman, I would follow up and say that I did poll communities within Cumberland County, and of the 18 that responded, only one out of the 18, which was South Portland, was open. The other 17 closed the day after Thanksgiving. And I think you would find that is the norm for the most part.
I think it's developed over the years that it really is, it's not like a lot of work gets done anyway, I wouldn't imagine, even in the places that are open. Tom?
Yeah, I actually had to look into this for a very specific purpose. Real estate agents in Maine only count time when it happens on a business day. And so if it's not a business day, all of our clocks stop running and our timeframes for doing things don't run. And so it's important to know whether the day after Thanksgiving is a state or federal holiday, and the answer is that it's not an official state holiday. But state government is closed. So what does that mean? I know that what real estate agents do is count it as a holiday when we're counting days in our contract. So with that little tidbit, yes, I would certainly, everybody else, including the whole real estate industry, stops on the day after Thanksgiving. So I don't see any reason why our people have to turn up on that day either.
I think it's a great idea to allow all of our employees to have the opportunities to spend a long holiday weekend with their family. So I support it.
And just a little bit of background, this is for non-essential personnel to have the day off. Those who are deemed essential personnel for that day, their union contracts will dictate how they are paid via a holiday pay or not.
Mr. Good?
Yeah, I agree with the day being given. I just disagree with the process. It's not a holiday, and I think we ought to be giving it as a personal day or something like that. Because I suspect, and I don't know this because I didn't talk to Dawn first, is that generally there are some benefits attached to the word holiday that are over and above what just a personal day would be.
I can speak to that, actually.
Go ahead.
Yes, within some of the union contracts, absolutely, that would be true. Some of them specify a holiday as something that would count as hours worked and so on. However, for the non-union personnel, there is no significance there. It doesn't have that. If this was union, though, absolutely, that'd be a big issue, just not for the non-unions.
But they'll still get it. The union people will still get it.
They've been getting it.
They'll get paid, so that will
Yeah.
account for it, yeah.
Yeah, it would be like a 12th holiday it'd be a 12th holiday. With pay under the provisions of either the non-union personnel policy or the respective collective bargaining agreements. And not all collective bargaining agreements or non-union employees have personal days, by definition.
So, yeah. Well, I support it as well. It's called for in some of the union contracts. There's a pay differential for those who are called upon to work that particular day. Everybody has their leaves to rake, and so the day after Thanksgiving, yes.
Snow to shovel sometimes?
No
cursing.
Some parts of the country, the shopping that occurs on that day is staggering, so we're kind of catching up with the 19th century here. So, do I have a motion in favor of this?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. And old business, there is none. Comments from the county manager?
Old business.
Old business?
Yeah, in the minutes, it spoke about, plans and records, and I don't know, Jim, did you have an opportunity to do anything with that yet?
We are lining a discussion up for the workshop at the end of this month.
Thank you.
Have we
I'll
selected a
say
date for that
in the old
workshop?
business category, at some point, I'm gonna want
It'll be
to
the Monday.
have
The last-
a broad discussion about the impact of that broadband report as well, but not tonight. Would probably want to structure that pretty carefully, actually. County manager, comments for the evening.
First, thank you for your acceptance of the holiday after Thanksgiving. That is one thing that it would be great to offer the county employees, the non-union workers, and the union workers even. They get a little bump there based on their contract. So thank you for considering that and approving that. That will go a long way when I let the staff know tomorrow. A couple of things. In your email folders right now, you should have the Thrive 2027 report. This is a report on how the first year public service money was allocated in our county and the benefits that were received from the allocated funds. So that was, getting a report like this and documenting how the funds were being used was one of the main reasons why we went in that direction of teaming up with Thrive 2027 to give some more accountability to the money that we were allocating. And I think the report that you'll see is a good step forward, and I think from here on in, that report will only build on itself. So, as always, if you get through it and have any questions, please feel free to give me a contact, either by email or phone. We did receive, Commissioner Coward brought home from the County Commissioners Association a certificate of recognition to Cumberland County for our commitment and promoting volunteer efforts in the county, and it is all part of the Spirit of America's gold designation, or gold distinction, sorry. And so this certificate is signed by Angus King, recognizing Cumberland County for our continued efforts around Spirit of America. That leads me into Spirit of America, as the commissioners reviewed the nominees back in September workshop. We will be working to get those nominees awarded and recognized at the November commissioners meeting. And we will be sending out this week letters of recognition and inviting people to attend the meeting. And we will go through a very similar ceremony that we have in years past on how we distribute the awards to the worthy recipients. And that concludes my communications this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. The executive staff, Alex, we'll start with you.
Just one thing. I think 2 months ago, I came to you folks mentioning that we might be doing, and we're starting the process towards, a reissuance of the 2012 cross-insurance arena debt. A month ago, I told you, never mind, rates changed, and now it's a month later, and we're back again, sort of, kind of. The numbers are just barely good enough to be worthwhile right now, so we are starting the ball rolling to put it on the agenda possibly for next month's meeting for approval from you folks. That being said, we could reverse course again, but it's enough that it's worth it going through all of the steps to start down this path. So I think at least one of the commissioners mentioned, well, we'll see you again in a month, having done an about face, and yes, that exactly did occur. It's not as strong as it was originally, but it's enough to be worth doing.
And it was much better the middle of last week, so. Mr. Brewer?
Yes, to all of the employees who may be watching or their family members, fall is our annual employee benefits fair season and open enrollment for employee benefits, and we have open enrollment benefit fair scheduled on November 13th and November 14th. Here in the Feeney Room being one, another fair will be down at the Cumberland County Jail, and another at the Cumberland County Regional Communications Center in Wyndham. So we split them out for the convenience of employees, and we bring in vendors and benefits providers to answer questions and provide a wealth of information. So we've notified employees, we'll be getting more information out. So The fall season, again, is very busy with benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Joyce, anything? And Barbara?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you all. Commissioners, Commissioner Wood-Thomas?
I only have one thing, and Jim can, he might want to talk about this. This past Friday night was with the opening night of the hockey season for our Mariners. I was in attendance, and so was our Jim. I don't know if you have any statistics, Jim, on the attendance, or?
I don't have anything up to date, but I would estimate we're on pace for about 3,200 patrons.
Yep, so I would encourage everybody, to support the team, with the tickets all available, always online, and I think there's a county code what they can also use for tickets or something, I don't,
Not quite sure.
okay,
For that.
so there are game day with tickets available on the game day, so, yeah.
Commissioner Good?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of personal items. Flu shots. Please get your flu shot, and especially the elderly. And I'm referring to myself here. People who are over 65. And remember to get the high potency group, because, we're tough old birds, and sometimes the bugs can't last long enough to give us protection. Cold weather another issue is cold weather is just around the corner, so start tightening up your house. If you've got places where cold weather can seep in, it can freeze pipes, it can cause all kinds of damage to your home, and you'll lose a lot of heat. So start thinking about that. It's, it's less than a month away. And then the last thing is, please start getting educated to your political issues. This is budget time, especially in localities. And if you want to see where the precious tax dollars are spent at the local level, you need to participate. Thank you.
Commissioner Jameson?
Thank you, Jim. I would like to just say a few words about actually Tom Coward's presidency of the MCCA, Maine County Commissioners Association. Several of us were at the annual convention up in Waldo County 2 weeks ago, and Tom did a great job, has done a great job leading the group the last 2 years. Sometimes it can be a little bit like herding cats, but we appreciate his patience, his leadership, and his ingenuity to help county government work in the state of Maine. So Tom, good job.
Thank you.
As we get closer to the end of the month, high school playoffs will start happening, so go out there and support your local team and your students. Remember that it is all about the kids, and not necessarily, it's not about who wins, but who participates. So it's a big part of every high school in the state of Maine. So all the athletes, we appreciate your support. And as we get closer, turning to the fall, remember your local food banks. There's a desperate need still in the state of Maine, a food shortage. 25% of our families are without, are short of food every week, every day, every month. And so please, if you have the ability, consider contributing either money or food to your local food bank, particularly as we get closer to holidays. Thank you.
Mr. Coward?
Yes, thank you very much, Commissioner Jameson. Thank you for your kind words. I won't take credit for what I only had to be the figurehead for. I thought it was a wonderful convention. The staff of MCCA and a bunch of volunteers from different counties really came together and put that program on. I thought it was one of the better ones we've had for a long time.
I would agree.
Certainly a beautiful setting, Point Lookout. We had thought that we were going to be the last event there because they had announced they were going out of business. Well, apparently they've changed their mind or sold it to somebody else, and they've decided they're going to keep running it. So we may in the future be back there. I think next year we're going to be in the mountains somewhere, but that would be definitely definitely a good place to have it. One of the issues with MCCA's convention is that some of the counties don't have venues big enough to put on an event of that size, and I was very pleased that a place like Waldo County actually could do that. So thank you all who came, and my thanks at long distance to the MCCA staff and volunteers who put that event on. One of the speakers was a futurist. The keynote speaker had I think a 4-hour keynote speech. It was more of a discussion and a back and forth group participation effort, which was absolutely fascinating. And I'm not going to review it here, but I did pick up a whole lot of snippets of information that will be useful, and kind of started me thinking on things we may want to talk about at the county level with changes in technology that are on the way. The one point that stuck out for me is that the electric car is on the way, and it's so close that Daimler has stopped innovating internal combustion engines. They'll use what they've got now. They figure it's about as good as it's ever going to get, and they'll just keep putting the same designs in new models as they go on. And they're spending their time trying to figure out how to turn it into an all-electric fleet, which is probably what they're going to have to do within the next 10 or 15 years. So that kind of puts a perspective on a lot of things that we do at the county level that we may want to have a little shift in our thinking. Maybe at our next strategic planning session, we may want to actually have more of a future technology discussion. So that was all very interesting. So I had a wonderful time, and then we had another board meeting a couple of weeks later where the Commissioner of Public Safety and the Colonel of the State Police came and told us about what they were needing to do statewide to restructure their support for local law enforcement. This affected the sheriffs. I know, Kevin, I think you've are way ahead of me on what we picked up at that conference, but that was something that statewide the state police are feeling the squeeze that a lot of people are. They haven't really had an increase in their patrol staff since the 1970s, I think, was what we learned, and so they're trying to figure out. They're trying very hard not to couch it as we're withdrawing from helping law enforcement in the counties, but what they are trying to do is have more flexibility so that they're able to spread themselves effectively over the big area that they cover. So that was a very interesting session at the last MCCA meeting. I'm not sure what impact that has on Cumberland County, not as much as other places. I mean, you do see them occasionally down here, but some counties rely very heavily on them. For instance, in York County, I think the state police are the primary patrol officers for 5 of their towns. And I think I think in Cumberland County, they have a bigger role up in Gray and New Gloucester than so. But some counties are really feeling threatened by this statement. So a lot of the purpose of the presentation was to try to allay fears of the local sheriff's departments, and indicate that they want to negotiate and they want to work out something that kind of helps everybody out. But definitely there's some change there, and the Maine County Commissioners Association is going to be continuing to talk to them about how the counties can work with the state police for everybody's benefit. We'll see how that works out. So that was I've had a busy time on statewide business this last month. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I have not much to say at all, except to mention that people should be aware that before we next meet, there'll be an election. Absentee ballots are probably available already. I'm certain they are, or they're supposed to be anyway. And so people should take the time to understand their local elections, which is the primary focus of the elections this year, and remember to get out and vote. Next month, I'm going to be asking us all to think about whether Cumberland County as a government should do something to recognize the 200th anniversary of the creation of Maine as a state, and there, I think, are a few local efforts that I've become somewhat aware of related to trying to make the past 200 years relevant to the next 200 years, so that'll be something that maybe we can discuss next time. That's it. We have an executive session and a workshop still ahead of us tonight, and my belief is that we will not be voting on anything after the executive session, so I'll just announce that our next meeting is Tuesday, November 12th. We'll be right here in the Feeney Room, again at 5:30 at the Cumberland County Courthouse. So, could I have a motion then, please, to go into executive session for the purposes stated on the agenda?
So moved. Oh, you want to read it? Go ahead. Oh,
If I could, the first one, it should be a C in the parentheses, not an A.
okay. County
Actually,
Commission-
D, I'm sorry.
Okay. County Commissioners will move to enter into executive session in accordance with 1 MRSA, Section 405-6D, to receive bargaining guidance to negotiate a successor collective bargaining agreement between the county and Treasurer's Teamster Local 340 Law Enforcement Unit.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In that case, we are in executive session.
There was another executive session